think Ben's pissed off now. He's not going to come back.
Yeah. Quit the band. Live on air.
Hello and welcome to the Venom Prison podcast. The last time we got together to record the first episode was back in October. So on this episode we'll discuss what we've been up to so far since then, how the new lockdown is treating us, the recording process of the new album, as we've been recording the drums in December, Ben's incident with the hard drive and other complications. So we can just start basically.
Go on then, you lead today.
Yeah, I always lead. What have you all been up to?
Almost dying.
Oh, let's hear this first. Let's get to the juicy stuff.
Oh, you want to hear it?
Yeah, let's get to the juicy stuff.
Right.
Go on.
So, I already told the other guys. Actually, Ben, you weren't there. But
I
Wednesday night, I got home from work and sat down to play a game. And as soon as my eyes touched the screen, my heart just like did the biggest thump in my chest, and it was like stabbing pain the whole time it was happening. I was getting pains down my arms. It was happening a bit on Tuesday as well. I actually rung 111 that day and they told me to ring it if it kept happening. And obviously when I got home, it was like super bad. And I was getting like this heat going up the back of my neck, and my ears were crackling. My vision was going blurry. Felt like I was going to pass out. There's a window just here, and it was like snowing at the time. And I had to stand next to it with my shirt off, wide open, because I was getting so hot and I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I ended up going to hospital about it. Oh, I didn't say this actually, but while I was in the hospital, what made it worse? I was there for almost 3 hours. And first of all, there was a guy being taken around by two police officers. It was like a guy in a wheelchair that only had one leg, and these two police officers were wheeling him everywhere. And he was like screaming at all the staff as he was going past them. So obviously that didn't help. I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna go or something in a minute. And there was also this like ridiculously drunk guy, and I was sitting right next to the toilets, and he kept going in and out of toilets, and he was also shouting at like just the people sitting in there, and he ended up getting security called on him. But yeah, obviously that didn't help my heart. But got some scans, had an X-ray done, had blood tests done. They didn't find anything wrong with me. And
do you suffer from anxiety?
It does sound like a panic attack.
I do suffer from anxiety, but
The end of that story is fantastic. There was nothing wrong with me.
yeah, well, they couldn't find anything wrong with me, but they told me that my heart's natural rhythm is being disrupted by something, but they couldn't tell me what.
And
I'm still. What was that?
You're in 3-4.
Can't count properly. Losing my mind. But yeah, I'm still getting like, just here, there's like a dull ache, like constantly all the time. My chest is really tight. And I'm still getting like tingling sensations going up my arms. It's here. Don't know if you can see it properly. There it is.
Yeah, it's almost in the middle, isn't it? Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my Wednesday.
Ben did a first aid course this week. What are your thoughts, Ben?
As a qualified first aid instructor, I don't know.
It sounds like a panic attack.
So we know the diagnosis. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, nothing wrong.
Just all this like worry and like probably thought of like, oh, I'm having a fucking heart attack or something, or I'm having like a stroke.
Honestly, I did. And when I was in the hospital, when all that shouting was going on around me, I just kept getting a stabbing pain. I was like, it's just going to happen any second. You've got to rush me through or something. It's going to happen.
Did you get cold or clammy or anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
If you're feeling cold and clammy.
No, I didn't get that. I just got that heat going up the back of my neck.
Oh yeah, the old heat up the back of your neck. I never.
When you
Classic.
twist your neck too quick, that's the worst.
So you're okay now though, right?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with him.
Apart from there is still a pain here.
Anyone else been to hospital? Anyone else done anything exciting like
No,
that?
no. But do you remember,
I haven't.
Ash, when I had that weird panic attack where I was basically twitching for 3 hours?
Oh yeah, that was fucking wild. Like
Yeah.
That sounds
I
like a
was just-
seizure.
it literally. I thought it was like I was just there, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, what do I do? So, being me, I didn't really call the ambulance. I rang my mum. I was like, Bev, come over, check this out. My mum got there and was like, oh yeah, it doesn't look great, does it? Yeah, probably should ring the ambulance. So I was like, oh fuck, I should have done that straight away, really. Yeah, I do remember that, yes.
Yeah.
And that one you had in New York, had to carry you up 5 flights of stairs because you couldn't walk.
Shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was
You-
bizarre.
You felt better after White Castle, though.
I did, but it was that initial, like, I know what you mean, Joe, like with that panic. Like, it was like, I remember just like stood there and then all of a sudden I was just like, said in my head, I was like, I'm about to go. Like, I literally was just like, I'm just going to lose all control. I'm just going to fall over.
Mm.
And it was weird because I just thought about it. And even while I was falling, I was like, yeah, I knew everything that was happening, but I just couldn't do anything about it.
That's
Just
what's so weird
overwhelms you.
about fainting, isn't it? Like you know what's about to happen, but there's nothing you can do.
It
can
was
just feel
horrible.
yourself slipping. It's weird.
I could just, every time I was just like, yeah, I'm about to go. And I could just feel my body leaning forward. And I was like, oh, here we fucking go.
You were sweating like fuck as well.
My ankles were dripping.
You nearly
Yeah.
slipped up my hands.
I remember like grabbing your ankles. Someone was like under your arms, and I was under your feet trying to take you to the sofa. And it was just like like a
I
fish.
remember, like, I even remember when you both came down and it was like, you were like trying to like guide me to put my like legs on the steps. And I was like fully aware of what you were saying, but like, I just physically couldn't do it. I was like, I know what you mean, like lift your leg up and go up the step. But in my head, I was just like, why isn't my fucking body doing this? It was quite a fun time thinking back now. It was eventful, wasn't it?
And the morning after, or I don't know, it was the same day when I hid the CD in Jay's in Jay's suitcase and then started laughing, and then that laughing turned into hysterical crying. That was also a weird one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember
There's
that.
got to be something to be said about like how you pretty much had a breakdown from laughing to crying to like basically what looked like a full-blown anxiety
That was the last
attack.
day of our first US tour, which
And
was
then Ash had his funny turn, and then
Ash was fucking high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
That-
fucked.
I think
mine.
Ash's was just like a couple hours after mine as well.
no, it was
I
like
know
back
what it
to
was.
back, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
It was weird.
I think I know what it was though. Like, I just smoked a little bit too much, and then I think because of what happened to you, I think it triggered me a bit, and I just started panicking. And I think I just had like a fucking mad whitey. But
And then Jay turns to me. He's like, "Oh, I'm not going to do a Scouse accent." It's like, "Oh, we still going for a beer?" I'm like, probably not right now, mate. I want to make sure the band don't die. Larissa's locked in the bathroom, freaking out. Ash is nearly dead. Jeff's high as hell. It's not the time to just go out for a beer, mate.
and you gotta remember, our flight was only 10 hours later.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
Then you crashed the van the next day on the way to the airport.
I didn't crash the van. Someone just drove into the wing mirror. That was it.
I don't remember that.
That
the
was
second
right at
time?
the.
We
No, it
went
was
the
the first
entire
time.
tour, no incidents. with the
Oh,
van.
yes.
And then we parked it outside the I can't remember. Was it Green Vans that we used? It was
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
their colleague, and parked outside his house so he could drive us to the airport. And literally, as we pulled up, that was the last of my driving. Someone just goes smack into the wing.
I remember that. That was like the.
As you turn the engine off, somebody crashes into us.
And I remember looking at you. You sat up front with me, and I looked at you and I go, "Something's going to happen on the way to this guy's house." And you were like, "Oh, it's got to. It's got to."
I remember it just like happening, and like just sat there, and just my heart just going, "What is the fucking chances of this?" Like, we've done 7 weeks and nothing's happened. Park up, and then when you just feel that bump when you're like in a car, and it's like straight away that initial feeling of something's just fucking hit the car, and now I've got to get out and look to see. That was all it was like in my head, just thinking, fuck's sake.
The guy just fucked off as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure it's fucking standard procedure around there. Do you know what I mean? But if he stopped, there'd probably be a traffic jam.
Ash, do you remember when we played, I think it was Malevolent Fest? It was the first show with Jeff, and then you drove into Anya's van and just drove off as well.
No, that isn't entirely true. I hit it and then parked behind her.
Yes, you did. And she was right there as well.
So let's get that right. I didn't drive off, so it wasn't a hit and run. I just parked behind her. Oh, that was a good time, wasn't it? Yeah, that was great. I remember that was like when we were just, there was the big old vans we were getting, wasn't it? Like, saying that as if it was ages
Jay's
ago.
van. Was it Jay's van?
Yeah, it was Jay's van, wasn't it? Oh,
Always trusty.
yeah, good vans.
Remember when the door fell off? That was good.
Do you know what?
Remember when we had the strapped-in seats at the back?
Yes,
Cable tied to the floor.
Yeah.
I was about to say this is completely off topic, but because of that story you just mentioned then with the door, we need to get Luke Lancaster on.
Yes,
On the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He can tell the story about parking in Paris and then actually having to Destruction Derby 2 cars out, because Luke helped me like parallel park. It was fine at the time, and then like trying to bring the van back for the loadout. When Luke came with me back to the van, and it was literally like touching at the back and touching at the front. But I'll let him tell that.
You tell us about seeing the ghost of his nan.
But
He has a few good ghost stories, to be fair.
Back on the subject of what we were talking about, the like mad panic things though, it was like, did we talk about Void Fest last episode? I'm sure we did.
I think
didn't
we mentioned it, yeah.
That was another wild one for everyone. But what else are we going to discuss then?
New music. Anyone been listening to any new releases? I'm going to be honest, I haven't listened to any music this year so far.
I was just listening to Dua Lipa.
Nice.
Dua Lipa.
That's it. I'm not even joking. That's it.
I checked out the new Frozen Soul record.
Oh yeah, I did. No, tell a lie. Yes, I did also go through that. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's cool.
I did. But other than that, no. Like, I can't really think. Like, that's the problem, isn't it? Like, now everyone has more time to listen to music. It's almost like you feel like you've got more time to leave it until you listen to more music.
I think for me personally, I mostly listen to music when I'm like on the road. So when we're on tour or if I drive somewhere, but that's not happening. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm kind of practicing getting ready to record that. Just listening to our demos at the moment.
Yeah, I would say the same. Like, I practice quite a lot, just sitting down with the songs and just going over and over them. So by the time I've gone through like the record and stuff, I don't really want to sit down and listen to music for a little bit.
Yeah, same here.
Especially going through. But whilst we're on the topic, Joe recorded the drums for Record 3.
Yeah, that was fun.
Want to talk us through that?
That was good.
Yeah.
So, well, it must have been like, well, actually, let's start with a kit. So, I got a brand new British Drumco kit. It was like a week. It's like, yeah, I got delivered like just a week before we had to go to record. And then it turned up and then didn't have the snare. So then we had to panic and try and get a snare down. And then that ended up turning up on Wednesday, like 2 days before we were going to start recording. Well, they ended up sending me a prototype of the Talisman snare. I think it was. Yeah, it sounded sick, to be honest.
They're
The whole
expensive
kit sounded
snares.
good.
It looks sick.
Yeah, it was like the snare was like $1,000 or something like that.
Yeah, it sounded really nice. So really, really nice.
Yeah, the whole kit sounded amazing. And then when we started recording, day one, we did a few bits of sampling, went around the whole kit. What was I using? So I was using a Talisman snare, had a 10, 12, 16-inch tom, had a 16-inch and an 18-inch pasty 7 crashes, and then a 16-inch pasty 8 China, and then 2002 rides and 2002 hats. And working with Scott was good. It was really good. He was really professional, but he was still very, very relaxed about everything while we were there. Pushed you to get the best out of you that you possibly could, really.
I think that's a big deal as well for for us going to Scott as well, because I think we all knew what work he had done before going to see him, and it was just like it just felt like the next move as such, didn't it? It felt like someone just who was going to be a little bit on top of us and just make sure that whipping us into shape as such, isn't it? Like the fact that he's been like emailing, locking in so much that, the guitars and bass are practicing, like every email regarding like anything, whether it's dates or the accommodation or whatever it is. At the end of every email, he's always like, make sure you've been practicing that guitar. And, he's really like locking it into you, isn't he? And it was the same with drums, wasn't it? Like the takes that you did that I was like, oh, you nailed that. And he was like, try it again, but harder.
Yeah, always hit it harder.
Yeah, but
smashing the hell out of those drums by the end of it.
But then the end result, like thinking about like the first takes and then the end result of a final take, and then you hear all his criticism throughout, each run through, and then you kind of hear that.
It wasn't scared to like make you step back away from the song and then think of something else that could work better with the song.
Yeah,
felt that would be the way forward.
It's the attention to detail, isn't it? Like stuff that I wouldn't even thought about, like just adding crashes on stabs of each section. It is very, very clinical. And the layout of the room worked super well. It kind of felt like, because he had that big glass window. Like when we've done drums before, it's always like drummers in another room and you like, the buttons press so you can talk and you can't see him. But the way he's got it laid out, it's really easy to communicate.
So even when Ben was like, we were like stopping the track and thinking of something new, and Ben, not only could I hear you, I could see what you were trying to tell me to do to move forward with the song and make it better.
Yeah,
which
that's
helps
helpful,
massively.
isn't it?
It really helps. Yeah.
It's less
puts you in more
disruptive as well.
It's like a comfort zone, isn't it? As such, you can see everything that's going on, and you're not really closed off to everyone. But
the one thing that wasn't good about that is that when I knew that I was messing up loads and loads of times in a row, I could see if Scott was getting annoyed about it.
I don't think he ever got annoyed. He's like,
no, I wasn't like really annoyed. It was just like, eyes rolled and go again.
I think that's almost like the approach you do need, though, isn't it? Because then if someone does that honestly to you, then you're like, oh yeah, maybe that wasn't my best take.
Yeah.
It's not like you mess up a section and then look at them and they just go like, you know what I mean? Like he's just made it very clear. He's like, yeah, I'm fully aware that you fucked that bit up.
So what was the biggest difference then for you, Joe? Like doing the drums for this album, like with any other project you played drums on?
Definitely the amount of time we had to do it. That had such a big difference. Well, the last album, 2.5, was 1 day. 1 day that we had to record the drums.
Was that only 1 day?
Yeah,
I think it was 8,
1 day.
Was it 8 songs on that as well?
Like 11.
10 or 11.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. So, 11 songs in 1 day. Compared to us doing, ends up being 12
12 songs.
across 5.
That's still pretty crazy though for the amount
I
of
keep
attention
thinking
to
it was
detail.
longer than 5 days.
No, it was
It
5
was
days.
5.
Oh,
I
wait,
actually
yeah.
thought we wasn't gonna make it in 5 days at the
It
start.
was tight.
I didn't
but
think
then
we would.
you just started. You were like smashing everything out.
It got
Oh,
to
it
the
did.
point where we had like I think 3 songs left and half a day, and we'd kind of done it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. It was probably 2-3 songs per day, possibly.
Up until that point, it was roughly 2 songs a day we were doing, yeah. And on the Monday was pretty much just a setup and sample day. I think we got
Yeah.
maybe half a song done on the Monday.
So if we had like 2 to 3 a good day, to kind of have 3 left from like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that was pretty wild. That you still smashed through
Yeah.
it.
I mean, it was at 7 we finished, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Start at 9, finishing at 7.
Yeah.
It wasn't even like crazy hours like we've done before. I think that was the biggest. That's the biggest difference recording for me, even though I wasn't tracking that day. But yeah, doing it during fucking normal hours was quite nice.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You honestly can't focus as well as you can, like at night, as you can during the day. Plus, like you're super tired when you're recording at 2 a.m. When you've been, especially drums, if you've been playing all fucking day already.
Yeah, I think having that structure, it does benefit, doesn't it? It really does, because it keeps you there in your best amount of energy and focus. And then when it gets to about 7 o'clock, you start to drift a little bit, and it's like, right, call it a day there, instead of pushing it a bit. And then that's kind of when you start just, when you're kind of going over a section 2 or 3 times, when you start getting to like 9, 10 o'clock, it's like going over it once and going, oh, that was all right.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, it's not really it's not the way to do it, is it? Really?
No. And it also helped just in an organisation where you kind of knew when you were turning up what you needed to get done that day, and then you got it done. And then anything extra you got done was just a bonus on top of that.
Yeah, I think it worked out really well for us, didn't it?
Smashed it, mate. Absolutely smashed it.
Definitely. Really
Had a good time.
And then we've got the guitars.
I know someone who did have a good time. I think it's Ben with his hard drive.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Ben?
No.
Probably not. No.
I don't know what stage of grief I'm on now. Yeah. I mean, I had a good time. I really enjoyed working with Scott and working with Joe, getting the drums done, but there was definitely some complications. So obviously for the listeners, everyone in the band knows about this because it's been the talking point for the last couple of months, but so I had all the guide tracks. Basically, I hadn't backed up my hard drive. I used to have 2 hard drives. One died ages ago, never got around to backing up, and stupidly had not only all the pre-production, but I had the click tracks. I had everything on my hard drive, and I brought it with me. And yeah, we were going to be using the all the guide tracks, obviously, for Joe, so we could play along. I think we transferred over maybe 3 or 4 to Scott's computer, and then it just started ticking over, and basically the hard drive.
You're saying that as if it's like post-trauma now. He's clicking. And
well, to put it in perspective, it's probably, so we're on album number 3 that this is done. It's been the best part of an entire year writing, probably longer.
Yeah, it has. It's been about a year and a half.
And as like I do other writing too, so it had all other stuff, and also not to mention other personal stuff on there too. There's no one to blame but myself. But yeah, the hard drive died while we were in the studio. Absolutely fucking freaked out because it had actual audio that was planning to go on the album. There was a whole bunch of like synth stuff, electronic stuff, program stuff. There were ambient swells, loads of stuff that had taken me hours and hours and hours and hours at home that were going to be sampled on the album. And yeah, it's obviously you sat there in the studio thinking this is the best time for this ever to happen. But we found a way around it. Basically, I thought I'd recover it. I drove, I think the following morning, it was at the studio, wasn't it? I drove down the following morning. It was about an hour away. There was a data recovery place. They quoted, I think it was about 760 something pounds to attempt to recover. So there wasn't even a guarantee that you get it back. I think we were all just kind of like, they know that we're stressed, because I just had the look of panic on my face, I think, when I got there. So we were like, oh, they're just taking us for a ride. So we were like, no, it's okay. We'll figure it out. So me and Ash stayed up late after every session, and we were just building. Well, we were just trying to build something that Joe could play along with, just so we get the drums done, and just kind of we'll figure it out later.
Whilst watching that program about naked people.
Oh, yeah,
Naked Attraction. Yeah, everyone's having a good time at the apartment. I'm just like there crying into my laptop, trying to get click tracks working for Joe so he can carry on with his drums.
Piecing together the guy tracks on the 2 laptops we got in a room whilst loads of fucking naked people on the TV.
Going through emails,
Famous.
Dropboxes, just literally backtracking bits and bobs. It's now mid-February. I've had several quotes from other places. I think that the band has paid, I can't even remember what it was now, and it's horrible. It makes me feel sick to bring it up, but a good chunk of money attempting to recover it. Said, yeah, go for it. Here's the money. Just do what you can, get everything back. And then a few days later, like, yeah, we can't get it back. Thanks for your money. See you later. So yeah, I'm in the process. Literally just before this podcast, I'm piecing together all the electronic parts and everything all over again. But me and Ash, we were talking, weren't we? We were just saying, well, blessing is just another chance to make it better than what it is before. So it is what it is. Lesson is back your fucking shit up. Don't fucking be a dumbass.
The other thing as well is all the songs with all the electronic synths and swells, they're already in an audio format somewhere as a whole song. So it's not like we have to remember where things are as such. At least we can use that as a reference and say, you know, we did something here or we did something there, rather than kind of figuring it from scratch again. So there's pros and cons. Do you remember, like, it wasn't as bad as the hard drive, but do you remember, like, just before recording Animus, I deleted all of the left side of the guitar off the whole of the pre-production of the album?
I do remember that.
That was such a shit time, because I remember just like looking and going, oh my God, we're about to record in a week and I've just deleted all of the left side of the guitar.
We're cursed, because that happened with Animus. The entire one side of the rhythm tracks you deleted. Animus, so we used to run the entire album as one Logic project, didn't we? And it would be like, 20 songs on one project. And coming up to Samsara, I nearly forgot what the album is called. I had to look on the wall. Samsara, that's when we started. No, after Samsara, because I had my file got corrupted, and I'd log back in, I'd open up my project, and there'd just be whole songs missing or chunks gone.
Oh yeah,
do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
I do.
That happened to you in Animus. That happened to me. It was just cursed digitally. It's just it's fucked.
Yeah. Oh, and then for Primeval, I had to buy the songs off our own Bandcamp so I could practice them again.
I had to do that as well.
I was like, why can't I find the demo EP anywhere? And I was like, oh, I can't find it anywhere at all. So I was like, I'm just going to have to fucking buy them off our own website.
I tried putting like one of our own songs, and like when I did my YouTube video for my pedal board, I tried to put a Venom Prison song, and it wouldn't let me. It's like copyright. I was like, it's my fucking song. Like,
That's
it wouldn't let me.
isn't it?
You can still put them on, you just can't monetize on it, so you can't have adverts and stuff.
Yeah, could it be prosthetic, wouldn't it?
Okay.
I think it's something like that. But yeah.
We're over it now. We're starting again. We're getting everything back together. So hard drive.
Yeah, it'll be fine. And then what? So we're in March for roughly 2 weeks, and then back in April then for a week. That's right, isn't it?
Well, we would have recorded in the first week of January, but we had to postpone that because of coronavirus and lockdowns and stuff.
How did everyone feel about delaying stuff then, because of COVID?
It's a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it now, like I've been practicing, like any spare time I have in between work and stuff, I'm probably practicing and like thinking about the way I play the songs now to the way I played them at the end of December. It really is night and day. Like not so much that I was playing them bad in December, but like I'm a lot more confident now, and I kind of feel like I'm happy to just walk in the studio and say, right, let's go for this song. Rather than like, you know, with like Samsara, it was kind of because we were relying on the tabs so heavily. It was like you never really knew what song you were confident at. You were just like, oh, I hope like I remember this section in this song or that section in that song. So now it's nice to kind of walk in and be like, yeah, it's fine. I know what it is. May need to refer to the tabs now and then, but it's not
I'm
like
still
I
not
wouldn't know
completely
it.
off the music. I'm still following the music a lot, to be fair.
Do you
Jeff's
know what?
probably the most rehearsed of all of us, I think. Are you still reading off the tabs?
Not really. No, I'm kind of playing along to the drum files Scott sent us. So just bass and drums, really.
Yeah.
I'll look at the tabs now and then just for a refresher, but
Yeah, I have like a little routine now where I kind of go through it one song once with Sibelius and then the same song again with the drum tracks.
that's kind of what I'm doing.
So I just do it in that order. So it's kind of like having two goes at each song every time, but one with it and one without.
You ever
Like, I mean, I'm definitely gonna have to refer to the tabs like on certain licks and, you know, things, but like the bulks of the sections are absolutely fine.
Has anyone ever like given you sheet music, Joe? Have you ever had to do that?
I mean, the last time I read sheet music was probably when I was doing my university auditions. So it's been 8 years.
So it's not that common then for drums.
For session drumming, it happens all the time.
Wait, Joe, you studied music in uni?
Yeah, I studied music at Colchester.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, I'm sure we've had this conversation.
But yeah, for session drumming, it's all the time that you're reading music. But in this kind of situation, not so much, really. No.
What else have you got, Larissa?
Well, I wasn't actually finished with the vocal demos for the album, so postponing kind of gave me the opportunity to go over what we already had and complete the songs with your and Ben's comments. I got to go over Ben's to record some bits and work on the songs as well before the third lockdown kicked in. And yeah, I've been just recording at home ever since.
I think it's one of those processes, isn't it? With like demoing, you kind of should just keep doing things until you're right next to recording, if you know what I mean, because there's always that like little idea that sparks just before you enter, and it's kind of like the more you just keep at it. It's like, you know, it's like Ben, for example, like we've been tailoring the tabs as we've been going along. Like, you know, that idea you had in one of the songs has kind of changed one of the guitar parts completely, but rhythmically it's still the same. But it's just almost like tweaking as you go along, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of, there comes a point of diminishing returns when you're still writing, and I think we're all looking forward to getting in the studio and getting it done. But it has been a bit, like Jeff said, it was a blessing in disguise being able to really get everything tight. Larissa to perfect her vocals, and
I think there's no rush to guess it out anyway. I think this year everybody's going to be releasing new music. You can't tour it, so.
But
I think
you'll probably agree with me, Ash. Like, it gets to the point where you're going over your own music so much, there comes a point where it could never be finished. There's always stuff you're going to do. You just need to record it at that point in time. But that's a reflection of the song at the time.
I think when you write an album, there's too much of a mental attachment to it. And I think until that moment that you stand in the studio on the last day and then they say, that's a wrap, and you hit save and everything's in folders, that's the moment then you just feel relieved. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like that just moment where you just go, okay, you know, this thing I've been thinking about so much, and just, you know, thinking of every single section and every minute and every second and all that. And then once that's done, you're finally like, I never have to think about that again. All I have to do is play it. And I think the longer you keep that going, the more chance you do have of that damage, I think, because you do keep pushing and pushing. Even when, you know, someone may say it's done, in your head, you're always like, there's got to be something. There has to be. And I think that's where it starts getting damaging if you leave it way too long.
I think your ears
it's
become
like,
tired, and you almost just become a bit dumb to stuff when you're just constantly going over the same things again. You get too attached to what you think you want it to sound in your head.
yeah. And I think that can be dangerous for albums. I really do think that can be dangerous. Like, I think, you know, these like couple months to kind of reflect on it and, you know, perfect and tweak, I think has been a healthy amount. But I think if it went on longer, I think it would start to turn more, you know, insanity than anything, because you're just kind of going over everything. And then by the time you know, practice everything and you perfect practicing it, then you're almost ready to just tweak it again. Because you know what I mean? You just kind of got that time and you're like, do you know what? I can play it all tight. Maybe I should add this or perfect this. And it's not so bad when you've got a bit of time, but if you have too much, that's when it starts to just become a never ending process.
Do you listen back to your drums, Joe, and think, I have better ideas for that bit now?
I mean, I've listened to some of it and thought probably could have played that bit better, or I could have done a slightly different feel to make it flow into the groove a little bit better. But overall, I think they sound pretty good. I'm quite happy with them.
Yeah.
I haven't heard them fully mixed yet. We've only been given some of the raw files, I think, haven't we?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to hearing them properly mixed.
Yeah, I think the next session with rhythm guitars and drums, that's kind of when you start to get a bit excited about what it could sound like. Definitely. That's your...
Do you know
It's just
what's
like
the worst?
that.
Do you know what's the worst? If you record with someone and it sounds fucking amazing in the studio, and then you get the first mixes and it just sounds completely shit.
It's just sometimes there's two different things in it. It's not necessarily a bad mix. It's just,
it's
they
just
may have taken
some of
they've taken some of the characteristics out of it that you may have liked, which they may have deemed unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I think,
I mean, even me and you with our pre-production have different mixes. Like your songs like tend to have brighter, louder guitars. I tend to have a bit of a drum heavy mix for pre-production.
Yeah.
It's just everyone's got a preference.
but yeah, I know what you mean.
But that was the beauty with recording with Dring, because he knew the band, he knew what we sound like and what we want to sound like. So he was able to basically give us what we want.
Dring's the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dring was like very on our level when we walked in with Animus. I think, you know, when we walked in to do Animus, it was almost like he knew straight away what we were after. He was like, they just want a nasty sounding, you know, album type thing that kind of sounds more grind with like death metal and punk, hardcore and all that. And you knew that he knew all of those references as well. It wasn't like a conversation where it was like, oh, go on YouTube a minute and search these. You know, that moment where you have to tell someone to go on YouTube. Normally they'll search like Venom pussy or something, but yeah, like, you know, it's just like, yeah, like that's the moment that always concerns me when you sit in a studio with an engineer, which isn't a bad thing again. And it's like, yeah, I like the mix of this record and this band. And then you end up having to say, oh, bring YouTube up by there, pop this in. And then, you know, they just don't have a clue what you're referring to or even what it is. But Dring just knew that from the get-go.
Yeah. But that's what I liked about Scott as well. When we came in and when Joe was setting up, he was telling us, I listened to all of your stuff. You need this to sound like that, this to sound like that, this to sound like that, and this is what I'm going to do. And that was like, yeah, totally agree. Cool.
That I admired that about Scott a lot. Like I admire that about Scott a lot. The fact that he'd already dug into it before we got there, and he'd already kind of constructed a plan in his head before we'd even got into the studio. Like he'd listened to everything, and like you said, you know, I want this like this or that like that.
I think
Or
also
this should
having
be-
similar backgrounds is you know, Scott
Yeah.
comes from the hardcore scene, like all of us. Most of us have played in hardcore bands. Obviously not dating back to the same era, but we were kind of, the beauty of it is with Scott. I mean, he was Stamping Ground. I mean, he was playing in those bands that influenced us and also influenced the bands that influenced our previous bands too. When you come to think of it, like Stamping Ground, Knuckle Dust, those are kind of the foundations of UK hardcore in the 90s, and I think that those sounds it's kind of been emulated even up now into the 2010s, 2020s. Bands are still looking to that kind of metallic hardcore sound, and I think we knew we were in safe hands, because I mean, obviously that's his background, and he's kind of moved through metal and heavy music. I think we just knew we were in safe hands because he kind of had that background. So it's same as us, really.
Yeah, it's like almost like he's got the professionalism for like, you know, huge records that he's done, and he understands everything as in how, you know, producing a good record. But then he's still, yeah, like you said, he has that background, doesn't he, where he kind of still understands the aesthetics that's going on. Like it's not like he's kind of there going, right, you want to sound like this from the 90s. He's like, good production, understand the foundations and background, let's work and incorporate that in somehow. And I think especially with the drums, you could see like the way, even when we were changing sections, it was all about impact and, you know, bringing in those big sections, which is, you know, notorious, you know, in hardcore, those big moments, isn't it? Like that's kind of what everyone waits for in a song, isn't it? That big moment.
I just remember seeing his face in one of the songs. I can't remember which one, but it's one of the songs that slows right down. It has that kind of mid-thousands kind of proper beat down.
Yeah,
and it's quite unlike
another
us
one.
to throw one of those in. I remember the first time he sort of properly heard that, sort of looked at us and was like, yeah.
Yeah, he was just nodding along, wasn't he? He was like,
That
just
was right
I
up
remember
his street,
that.
wasn't it?
It's the end of song 16.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Just kind of started nodding, and he was like, "Yep, I like that."
Yeah, that got the Scott nod. You're in a good place if you get the Scott nod.
But no, it was good. I'm very excited to get it wrapped up, if I'm honest. Just hearing the full thing, you know, just hearing it as a package. But it won't be that much. It's not really that much longer now, is it? Really? Like we'll be back in the
Couple
studio
weeks.
within 2 weeks,
Yeah, it's creeping up.
and then
And
go on.
all of that is basically only possible because we signed with Century Media.
Yeah, we haven't said that, have we? Yeah, that's
Talk
big.
about
That
that,
is big
Larissa.
news. Yeah. Tell us about that then.
Yeah, well,
You just didn't
we
seem like you
signed-
wanted to then.
We signed to
Just
Century
like-
Media.
Just like, oh, we signed to Century.
Well, I thought you were going to take over from this, but you didn't. Well, yeah, all
no,
of
we were
that-
just waiting for you, but you just looked like you were like,
Yeah, all of
I
that.
guess.
All of that is just possible because we signed with Century Media, and they put their money where their mouth is, and I
Well,
think That
going in with the
says it all.
attitude.
Yeah.
Big label puts their money where their mouth is.
Well,
In the game.
it was sick. Like they knew this record is super important to us, and for them too. You know, it's our debut on their record label. Well, what a platform and what an honor to be part of that whole family. It's amazing, and to, you know, before working with someone like Scott would have been just out of the budget, out of the question. So just having the freedom to take our time and make a killer record is just it's a dream.
Yeah, it makes hell of a difference, doesn't it? It really does. And I think it is cool that, you know, Century put their trust in like completely backing us, you know, with allowing us to be able to go and do things like go with Scott, isn't it? Like, they've obviously got some faith in us, which is, I say some, they've got some faith in us. As if we just don't delete the album or something.
Yeah, just don't leave it with me. I'll delete it.
Oh, do you want to put Scott? Do you want to put the new album on Ben's hard drive?
He spent a good hour telling me about his hard drive cloning software, so I feel like he's taken me under his wing on that.
But no, it's cool, and I'm very excited to just get it out and just see it as a package. Because even like, not even like, obviously musically is the most important thing, but just even seeing it with the artwork and it just laid out in front of you, and it's just like, it's always a big moment, isn't it, when you finally like get it in your hands. Like, well, saying that, I don't know, because I haven't got Primeval yet either.
Me neither.
Me neither, and I haven't even got the test press because you still have it, Ash. So please send it.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
You've got the
well,
test presses? You kept that quiet.
I don't know if I have. They only sent 2 apparently, as far as I know. But
so they couldn't.
We haven't got Primeval.
Well,
Well, to be fair, we haven't got the fucking records anyway. Which was what was building up to my favourite part of it, is having the artwork and the record and it just laid out and just going, cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's done, it's there, it's completed. It's like finishing a game, and it just done. Credits come up. You're like, yeah, that's it.
It's like when you win at Warzone and you get the...
Yeah, it's just like that moment where you go, I've fucking done it.
Yeah.
Fucking done it.
Chicken dinner.
Chicken dinner. What are you having for tea tonight, Joe?
Oh, I don't know, probably a steak pie.
What's next on the agenda, Larissa?
I haven't got anything else really, so we can just chat a little bit. Oh, I went to this Donna Summer place in Leeds today to
Donna
pick up-
Summer.
Yeah.
Donna Summer, who's that? Is that a pop singer?
Isn't it?
That's Donna Lewis.
No, Donna Summer.
Who the fuck's Donna Summer?
I don't know her song.
Let's do a leap you're thinking of.
What?
Ash, have a look. Donna Summer.
I feel like I'm on the Joe Rogan podcast now.
Pull it up, Ash.
Donna Summer, vegan junk food, no songs.
Have a look on Spotify.
Donna Summer, rubbish beatdowns.
There's just having a look on the internet now. Spotify, Donna Summer on Spotify. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. 6 million listeners. This exists. This is
It exists.
So was it
Yeah,
good?
6
The point being, Larissa, was it good?
Alexa,
Oh, hang on a minute. Not Donna.
Alexa,
It's
play Donna Summer.
This is
hot stuff.
from James's Spotify.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, you'll get us pulled for playing this on Spotify.
That's Donna Summer.
Alright, so Jeff wasn't lying, but what is Donna Summer in terms of food then? What is it?
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah, that's a massive
It's
song.
fucking, it's Donna Summer, man.
oh, Donna Summer.
Yeah, but the kebab place, the vegan junk food place, is amazing. I had the kebab from there before, and this time I went with the buffalo chicken, and it was probably the best vegan buffalo chicken.
They got
ever.
Jason's Donovan in Bristol.
They do
How
have
was
Jason
that?
Donovan.
I've never been there.
And then outside my old
Banging.
flat, they had the kebab you like too.
Ooh.
In Merthyr, they got the cod father.
They got one of them in Somerset too.
Have they really? It's funny how it just occurs in places like that, isn't it?
In a-
Somerset, Merthyr.
In every county, there's a Chish and Phipps as well. Some guy's like, oh, that's original. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there's one.
Babylon.
I'm sure there was a one ranger called Chips and Salt.
Chips and salt.
Or Best Kebabs. Shout out to Best Kebabs, actually. Shout out to Best Kebabs.
I think there's a Best Kebab in literally every place.
This is the best kebab, though.
Is there a Best Kebab by you, Joe?
No.
Oh, there you go.
There's
Settled.
There definitely
There's a
is.
favourite grill. That's the one.
Yeah.
I think.
Favourite grill.
Favourite
A lot of
grill.
those.
Is it your favourite?
Yeah.
though?
It's pretty good, to be fair.
Okay.
So it is your favourite grill?
Ah, it's not.
Good chat.
Oh,
Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Any plans?
work.
I was going to get a cameo for Nancy,
From who?
but I don't know. Do you know that Shoe Nice guy? He's that guy. He just drinks like 2 liters of whiskey, and he's a fucking mess. He's hilarious.
Sounds like man.
Should get Donna Summer to do a cameo.
You know, have you all seen Lost Boys?
Yeah.
You know the guy who's playing sax, like the really muscly guy playing sax.
Yeah.
He's on it.
What, on cameo?
Yeah, Trevor from Black Dahlia.
Is that...
You can
Is
get
it-
Daisy
is that-
Cooper
is-
to do you one.
Who?
Daisy Cooper, the actress
Oh,
from this country. She's hilarious.
Isn't that mad? That's actually like a market, though, isn't it? Like,
Cameo.
yeah, like, just, we've got to the point in life now where we just pay someone to just go, happy birthday, champ, and then they're like, that's 30 quid. And then someone will go, oh, my partner will, like, it's mad, isn't it? Like, imagine doing that 10 years ago.
There's people in heavy metal that do that. Like, you know, not even huge bands. Like people who do that too. Crazy.
Like,
I think Mike should do it.
Me?
Yeah,
I get so confused when you call him Mike.
I know.
Yeah, I was thinking, what Mike's doing there?
Yeah. How many Mikes do I know?
Just the one.
The guy
What?
from Darkglass was like, "All right, Jeff," and I was like, "Yeah, my name's Mike." And I was like, "What?"
Talk about that. Talk about your new gear, man.
Oh yeah.
Got a new pedal. Got a new Darkglass pedal. The Adam, which is the Advanced Distorting
Advanced Machine.
Machine. Great.
It is.
Great pedal. It sounds really fucking cool.
It looks cool. I was watching a bunch of videos on it last night, and I was like, that looks really cool.
Great product design for sure.
Great.
It is a great product design. I know. The pedal sounds amazing, but I did look at it and think that's a very good looking pedal. And I
Nike
don't
colour
think
as
that
well.
often, you know.
I keep seeing people online saying, "Oh, I'm still waiting for mine, but Brexit's fucked up. I've been waiting for ages." I'm so tempted to just say, "Order mine on Tuesday." It came on Wednesday.
Thank you all for listening. Make sure to click follow or subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're getting your podcasts.
And also be sure to check out our merch store, www.venomprison.com.
And we'll see you next time.